Nicole.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks.
Have a seat. Well, why don't we start off and you can tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm a recreation, sport, and park administration major, my emphasis being parks and outdoors. I currently hold 10 certifications and I'm looking to get a couple more. My current certifications are Leave No Trace Awareness, CPR, AED, and Wilderness First Aid. I'm Boy Scout certified in Safe Swim Defense, Safety Afloat, Climb On Safely, Trek Safely, Weather Hazards, and Youth Protection Training. I have extensive experience with Wonders of Wildlife. This summer, I performed a practicum at their wolf school in which I gained hands-on experience in conservation education and community recreation. I assisted with National Hunting and Fishing Day, worked with a wide variety of people, and learned about different recreation programs. This October and last October, I helped with their school at Roaring River State Park. This past spring, excuse me, I created a survey with another student to be administered at Wonders of Wildlife, then analyzed and compiled the results into a final report. I also have a lot of experience with Equilibrium Therapy Center. They are a hippotherapy facility in Rogersville. This past spring, I performed service learning hours with them. I sidewalked with clients during actual hippotherapy sessions, and when I wasn't doing that, I was working with their intern to organize equines, clients, sidewalkers, and equine handlers based on sizes and availabilities of equines and people. In October, I assisted Trail Spring with their very first annual Single Track Mind mountain biking festival in Highlandville, Missouri. Trail Spring is a not-for-profit organization based in Springfield, looking to build 30 miles of trails in Springfield in 3 years. This past spring, I worked as a scorekeeper and cashier for the Springfield Park Board. I've also practiced my skills at a variety of places. I've practiced outdoor trip leading skills at Boisick State Park, spelunking at Doling Park, and rock climbing at Foster Recreation Center. My past experience includes demonstrating leadership, maximizing profits, and providing customer service to a wide variety of people ranging from MSU alumni to Native Americans to international students. I demonstrated these skills at a wide variety of organizations with the school and in the community. And then there are my relevant academic courses.
Tell me a little bit about what got you interested in this particular major.
I was originally an anthropology major for a couple of years, and then I switched to recreation, with my emphasis being parks and outdoors. It was because I really wanted to be outdoors, but more in the recreation sense instead of the scientific sense.
Okay. What area do you like most?
Well, I like my parks and outdoor emphasis because it has hands-on classes like canoeing and different things, but lately I've also been interested in therapeutic recreation and different fields of recreation also.
Okay, well, very good. Let's see. You had mentioned that in one of your roles, I think it might have been the Wonders of Wildlife, where you worked on a survey, and can you tell me what the results of that survey, or what the purpose was behind it, and what happened?
Our survey was just a list of simple questions about different programs at Wonders of Wildlife, how they liked the program, and any comments on it. The comments and ratings on the surveys were almost all positive. We allowed Misty Mitchell with Wonders of Wildlife to add any questions if she wanted to, and then we compiled and analyze the results and do a final report and send them to her.
And do you know whatever came of it? Did you get a grade? Did you get some kind of feedback?
The class was a statistics class, and my partner and I received A's in the class.
Well, very good, very good. How would you just describe yourself?
I would describe myself as very outgoing, determined, and resourceful.
Okay. Let's see here. Give me a second.
Did I mention my practicum at Equilibrium?
Yes,
Okay.
You did. I'm going to give you kind of a scenario, like a behavioral interview question. Say it's the first day on the job, and your new job includes working with the entire recreation department. How would you go about planning your daily operation? What would be the first steps you take?
I would try to plan outdoor activities, but somewhat gear them toward those with disabilities or special needs, because I feel like give it a therapeutic angle.
Okay.
Because I feel like people with disabilities or special needs are the ones who get left out, especially in terms of outdoor programs, because a lot of Americans don't get outdoors enough to begin with.
Okay. What do you, what about with the people that work there? What might you do before you just dive in?
Well, I would make sure to brief them on everything, explain the programs, how everything works, and make sure everyone understands it.
You too would probably need to understand what they do.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. It's always good to know what they do first. You might already be treading on waters that people have already done, so it's always good to make sure to assess the situation. What about telling me about a time when you had to design a plan that facilitated a safe, fun, and beneficial environment for park attendees? Have you ever had a situation? Any time that in any of your practicum you might have to it may not be park so much attendees, but just attendees, but a time where you facilitated a safe, fun, and beneficial environment.
Well, my Rec 190 class was similar to that. Each student had to come up with games or programs, about 4 of them over the course of the semester, and lead them. When we weren't leading ours, we were participating in everybody else's. Some of mine included having people hold a broomstick with one finger and try to move it, or trying to set up a tent in a certain amount of time, different things like that. A lot of students did different forms of tag or the human knot and different games like that.
Okay. What were some of the results? Did they enjoy it? Did they have fun with it?
A lot of people did.
Okay, good.
And during this class, we also had students from different high schools and students with special needs and things like that. And part of our grade was also bringing guests to class, but making sure we didn't hang out with them, that they hung out with everybody else.
Okay. What would you say is your greatest strength?
My greatest strength would have to be my determination and resourcefulness. I have a lot fewer resources than most people, yet I find a way to get more done.
Okay. Well, what about a weakness?
A weakness I might be having less tolerance for people who have more resources than I do, but don't get as much done.
So how do you handle that? Knowing that's going to be
everywhere.
A fact, yeah.
I try to prove myself to my supervisors and or motivate less productive workers.
How would you motivate them?
Just trying to inspire them to be better and get them enthusiastic about the different programs or work projects or things like that.
Okay, good. Let's see here. Of all your experiences that you've had in practicum or just things that you volunteered to do, which one have you enjoyed the most and why?
Well, I've had so much experience, it's hard to say. I would say my service learning at Equilibrium Therapy Center. Just because, sorry, I have allergies.
Do you need some tissue?
No. Okay. My face just itches. But I would have to say my service learning at Equilibrium Therapy Center in Rogersville, just because hippotherapy is very beneficial and amazing for both clients with disabilities and handlers and volunteers alike.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about it. What exactly do you do?
During my service learning, I sidewalked with clients during actual hippotherapy sessions. What that means is they ride the horse around a dirt floor arena. There's a horse handler holding the rein, a physical therapist observing their movements, and the sidewalker stands. There's a sidewalker on either side of the horse with your forearm across the client's thigh holding on to the mat in case something were to happen.
Okay. What do you have ideas of what you may do in the future in regards to this area?
This semester I just finished my practicum with Equilibrium Therapy Center. I mostly looked for grants for the facility, applied for a couple of them, and made a public service announcement. It is so hard trying to find funding for hippotherapy. The facility I worked with relies entirely on grants, donations, and volunteers.
Wow.
And they can hardly find grants. The executive director is the only full-time employee, and he ends up traveling a lot of the time.
Trying to get those grants and funding.
Yeah. They're wanting to, their insurance is part of the problem. Their insurance dictates the funding has to come from grants. And they're wanting to build a trail. Insurance says the trail has to be on their property.
Okay.
They can't use an existing trail somewhere else. They're currently looking to build a sensory trail for clients from Wounded Warriors Project.
Okay.
This trail would have different sensory stations that would try to help improve their physical senses damaged by traumatic brain injury.
Okay. Wow.
It's $6,500 to build a trail, which when I was looking for grants is nothing compared to other grant requests. Most grants I found that were similar to what I needed, that were Missouri based, would only cover like the St. Louis or Kansas City area. So ironically, I had to rely on nationwide grants. But even with equine and hippotherapy grants and trail grants and different things, and veteran grants, most of them said they would not cover a project like that for whatever reason. Their grants were only for research, or their grants were only for like veterans specifically, or equine grants, like one grant would only fund the training of volunteers and employees or something. I couldn't believe how hard it was to find a grant.
I guess is it somewhat new, or is it just that it's kind of high risk? Do you know?
I don't know what it is, because everyone likes veterans, and rich people have always loved their croquet. And everybody likes trails and things like that, so I don't know why it's so hard to find a grant for a hippotherapy trail for wounded veterans.
That's not. That's interesting. You obviously done a lot of research on that. Let's see. It's kind of, maybe you've already It says, what are some current issues facing the industry? This could be very broad. And what strategies would you use to improve them?
Well, an issue facing recreation in general is as times get harder and harder, economically, politically, what have you, recreation opportunities shrink more and more. Kids and adults have to work more or spend more time in school, or there are more and more restrictions on recreation. In a lot of cases, people can't afford recreational opportunities, and so it becomes a cycle. Because the less free time and recreation and time outdoors you get, the harder your life gets. But at the same time, with people having to work more or go to school more, the harder your life gets. So it becomes a cycle.
So what would you do to improve that?
I would try to increase recreation opportunities, especially for lower income and inner city residents, because they're the ones who need it the most. If athletic facilities and fitness facilities made their facilities free, people would actually be able to use them, and society would benefit, and in turn these facilities would benefit. But as long as they keep charging and jacking up their prices, it's going to be harder for people to use them.
Okay, makes sense. Tell me about a situation in which you had to adjust to changes, which you had no control, and how did you handle that?
Well, when my practicum this semester wanted me to make a public service announcement for them, I had never made one before, didn't know anything about public service announcements, and they did not tell me what they wanted me to say or do on their public service announcement. At the last minute, they finally told me. I had to learn, a lot of PSAs are made using iMovie nowadays. I had to learn how to use iMovie while I put together my PSA. And I'm not the most tech savvy, so normally my stress and anxiety would have been through the roof, but during this time I handled it wonderfully. It was at the last minute, so my PSA was pretty basic, but it was still a pretty good PSA, and I did a really good job learning how to use iMovie while making my PSA.
Oh, very good. Very good. You should be proud. Because sometimes life throws you things like that. Just kind of the last question. Why should we hire you over other applicants?
I have 10 plus certifications. I have a wide variety of experience, ranging from mountain biking to conservation education to hippotherapy. I'm very determined, resourceful, creative. I have a lot of initiative. I've worked with different demographics, from alumni to Native Americans to international students to those with disabilities. I have some experience as a scorekeeper and cashier. I have a lot of skills experience, and I don't know what else.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
Opportunities for advancement.
Okay. We've got those. It does take some time to get through them, but we certainly have opportunities. Any other questions?
I think that's it.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, thank you very much, and we will be in touch. We'll be interviewing a few other candidates and get back with you after we've made some decisions.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much.